Okay, here we are. I have my little key right here, and we're going to talk about the cipher for this. And I did talk in an earlier video about Lincoln. So we're going to get into Jesus. So we know that Jesus, J-E-S-U-S. So for the J, we have a numerical value of 90, 45, 171, 189, and 171. Okay? So here we are. So I'm going to show you my math. This is it. And you carry the 3, you've got 666. So people will say, well, you can just take anything and just get a bunch of numbers like that and make it be. No. Bull fucking shit. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. You cannot just take anybody's names or anything. I've probably tried 500 names, and these are the names. Okay? So, Jesus is 666, but how do we check it? We have to check it because, the reason I found this right was because of Lincoln Castle. So that is when we take Lincoln. And Lincoln, and I'll go ahead and just return with that math. So I'm back with the Lincoln math. So you carry the 4 here, carry the 2 here, and you've got Lincoln 711. So the significance of 711 is very important because it's the numbers for the pyramid. If you check out Marty Leeds, he does a whiteboard with English gematria, and he will break down 711 and the importance of 711. Of course, 711 is 18, which is also 666. Okay. Oh, thank heaven for 711. 711, Stairway to Heaven. It's all part of it. Okay, so let's go into more of the Jesus element of this. So, Jesus Christ. Now, Christ, as we know it, like this in current times, but it used to be Christ, or simply in Egyptian, K-R-S-T, meaning the cursed. That's why you say, don't cross me, okay? Or you're going to tell a lie, you put your fingers crossed behind your back. Get it? So, we got the word cross, which is also 666. Now, people talk about Jesus being the morning star, and a lot of Christians have come out and tried to disprove this or debunk that Jesus is the morning star. And they will say, because people say, oh, Lucifer's only in the Bible once. Oh, you can't use that, But the fact of the matter is that it says that Lucifer is going to go down into the pit. That Lucifer, how did you fall from heaven? You'll be cast into the pit. Okay, and then in the book of Revelations, it says that Jesus is the first one to rise out of the pit, to come from the rise amongst the dead. And we know that that's the dark night of the soul, right? Coming out of the pit. Get it? Okay, so, I'm going to pull this whole feather thing out of my hair. So, we've got that, and then plus in Revelations, it says, I will give you the root of David and the morning star. And what's so funny is I actually still listen to Christian music, and it cracks me up because they'll be like, I am the bright and morning star. And it's just like, holy shit, did they just say that? So it's important for us to understand that the morning star is a position, and that Lucifer means bearer of the light, or light bringer, bringer of light. And Lucifer, and these are difficult to get these words. This is kind of a longer one to come to 666. So Lucifer is 666. Of course, like I mentioned before, Cartier, which is Mrs. Carter, what Beyonce is using is 666. And then you've got Beyonce's video, if you've seen it, it's called 711, and she's like on Christmas, she has the Christmas tree, and she's dancing and coming out of the boxes, and she's saying, like, it's Christmas tree, but she's saying 711. Well, why? Okay, so you've got Mary, as in Merry Christmas is 711. So you're saying 711 cross mass, which would be 711 666. 6. Okay, so keep going. We've also got, see, for a long time, I kept trying to find Astarte, Astaroth, Aster, Aser, Astro, Ishtar, Easter, Esther, and all of them were so close to 711 and 666, and those names, you can switch them around so much that you'd think, through all the different spellings and Inanna and all these different names that somewhere along the line you could come across 666, but I did not. And a year and a half went by, and I was watching a video on the high priest and the priestess. Well, it was the high priest who, and he was very good looking, and they had convinced him that Isis, that he should have a child with her because they would have the perfect children, because she was perfect and he was perfect. And so, according to these people, they're trying to play, obviously, a trick on him. And so, Isis, I could not get to come to 66 or 7-Eleven no matter what I did. But see, before Isis came back as the high priestess with Ra, see, Ra wasn't always Ra, he had a different name before that. And so, when they came back as Isis and Ra. But before they were Isis and Ra, Isis was Isis, which is 666. So it took me a year and a half to find that. So that was very gratifying to finally find that. And you hear like human, like Ben Human, and then human being the human. And the priest of you, or you is Uery, or jewelry. Jewelry. That's a funny word. My handwriting is nasty. So you've got that you, Ben Human, and human is also 666, or Jew-man. Okay. So the last thing I have is the Indian Vedic stuff, and that is, I was talking, this is kind of crazy, I was talking to this Indian guy and just explaining to him this dream I had that I felt like was past lives, because I was like very young, and I remember sitting on these benches with everybody eating, and we were all eating like Indian food, and I remember the spices and what it tastes like. And then when I was with the Chamber of Commerce, we did a ribbon cutting for the Indian restaurant, and I just remember the smells reminded me of my dream, and that I had tasted all of that before, and I was like 12 when I had that dream. So after I was telling him all that, you know, he was like, you should really be looking up this this goddess incarnation of Kali. It's JWALIJI, or JWALIJA, but in my mind I keep remembering as JWALIJI. Okay, so I started to look into that. I found out that Jwali, or my friend looked into it, she's the bringer of like long life, good health, and stuff like that. So she's known as healer, which is also Mary, which is also the tower, which is also the name God gave to me in the very beginning, which is Ashaya. And these two both equal 666. Crazy, right? So I also found that she had another name, and that other name was Jayota, which is 7-Eleven. So going into more of the 7-Eleven, I was watching Dave J's channel, who's crazy. And when I was watching that channel, I was just skipping through it and stuff. They showed Henry Tudor's wife, who was obviously dressed up as the Queen of Spades. And it said, you know, Henry, like this, of course, whatever. And then it said UXOR. And to me, especially if you're studying this stuff, you know that the cross is really an E, is like Utor, like Tudor. Because Tudor changed several times. They changed it from Tutor to Tudor, and there's a couple other different names that they had, or ways that they had changed it. This looks like to me a way to write it, but I looked into what this means, and it means bride or wife, which would make sense, right? Because she was the wife of Henry Tudor. But it adds up to 7-Eleven. So that is what I found. That was very interesting. I also found that Anne, because you know, a lot of this is related to the Hoover Dam conspiracy, that they're going to blow the Hoover Dam, and like during Beyonce's halftime show that they wanted to blow the Hoover Dam. Of course, 7-Eleven is seen on the ceiling of Beyonce's halftime show in the lights, and then the goalposts are 7-Eleven. Okay, and I mean, 7-Eleven started for me. I'll have to have a whole different video of that. But getting back to, I don't remember what I was talking about because I got distracted, but that's okay. So, Anne, Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam conspiracy basically is supposed to be ran by, I mean, if you look at this stuff and you look at who's doing it, obviously it's Parks and Recreation. So after I was done watching 30 Rock like 3 times, I was like, you know, I'm going to watch Parks and Recreations because they do a lot of the same actors and same kind of script and stuff. So on the pilot of that show, she says, we're going to take the pit, which everybody keeps falling in this pit, you know, it's dangerous. And Anne, Queen Anne, like Anne, Herod's wife, was Mary Annie. So Anne, her boyfriend fell in this pit and broke his legs, and it's very dangerous. And she said, okay, we're gonna fill in the pit, and we're gonna build a park over it. She's like, it's gonna be my Hoover Dam. And then they show the picture of the parks that they build, and it's like the identical parks that are here in my town. So, which I never thought I'd think of. My friend was like, don't you think they just look weird? They just look weird when I look at them. And I was like, no. But now, yeah, I'm thinking kind of. So, the Hoover Dam conspiracy, along with that show, kind of, I was watching it, and this is after I had done all this names. And Anne in the show, she's the one who says we need to fill in the pit. She's the one that is the one who's raising all the concerns about it and everything. And her office number is 144 in there, which 144 is such an ominous number. They never use it without knowing, why they use it. And of course, Anne is 144 when you add it up on here. So that is very interesting as well. And I think I went over all of the names, except of course my name. I was raised after my grandfather, or named after my grandfather, and then the J was a Y, just like Yeshua or anything like that. So, and this, my last name isn't a new name. I found out it was actually an Egyptian Israelite name. So this is 711, and this is 666. So, and even in my apocalyptic dreams about what's come, or what was supposed to come, or what may come, or whatever you want to say, I had a dream that I was walking through an airport and I won the lottery, and the lottery was 7, 11, 22, 33. It was like all these crazy numbers. And I called people and told them, like, oh, this crazy dream. And then that night, those were the winning lotto numbers. It was very strange. And I even called my cousin, was like, turn the TV on and look at the lotto numbers, look at them. And I dreamt about Obama in 1999. And what I remember most about Obama in 1999 is in the dream we were like all leaving here. We were like leaving the planet, and there was this black guy leading us, and he was like the president, and people like didn't believe in him and stuff like that. And we were like, we don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna do it. And he was joking around because he was wearing like a Star Trek Voyager's uniform. And he was like, do you like the outfit? And he had like a sense of humor. And everybody was just laughing because he had gotten us all Star Trek Voyager uniforms. And that was in 1999 that I dreamt that I was I think 19 or 20. And the crazy thing about that dream is that my ex-husband at the time was having the simultaneous dream. He had the same dream at the same time. So that was what was weird about it. But in any case, and then when I got the lottery ticket and I saw that my ticket was like a winning lottery ticket, I said, fuck it. And I threw it over my shoulder, and then I looked up at the lottery, there's like a commissary or something, like a, duty free. And they had like a, lotto screen in there, and they were like doing the lotto numbers for like the Super Bowl, and it was my lotto numbers, and I was like, you kidding me? Like, it's the end of the fucking world and the lotto's still going? That's some setup bullshit. It's a setup. And so that was kind of crazy. And of course on Valentine's Day at about 12:30 in the middle of the night is when I saw in 2013, that's when I saw like an angel at 7-Eleven. So that's what kind of like sparked this whole thing for me. Is I actually was praying, calling for protection, and I opened my eyes and there was an angel right there. And so it kind of tripped me out. And then in my other dreams about this stuff, in one of the dreams I'm running up the stairs to what it was H&R Block to talk to somebody and about getting help or something, like for what was going on and stuff. And that was my friend's dad's office. And then that is actually the 7-Eleven, across the street from the 7-Eleven. And then I found that 7-Eleven was started by Rosa Kranz. And then the address of that 7-Eleven is 111. So interesting. And if you look at it on the pyramid scale, the King's Chamber runs straight down Court Street and to that 7-Eleven. If you were to line it up with like Giza or any of the ancient Egyptian maps, you could line up Biselia's map literally on an Egyptian map and see the landmarks being marked properly and everything. And of course, Germany and all the ancient Illuminati maps was marked as Egypt because every continent had an Egypt or an Eden. And that is why you have, the Venice or the Venetians and things like that. And Vasilia is Wazelia. There's one in Germany and there's one in Poland. So there you go. I hope that's good information on 7-Eleven, 666. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can tell you about 7-Eleven other than it is Lincoln. And that Lincoln is the cipher for it. And Lincoln also doesn't have any letters that changed throughout. So it doesn't have like the J or any of those. So it's kind of interesting when they took the J out and they were going to use the I or use the J in place of the I. And even before they switched all this, J's existed back in India and in Germany. So there were J's. But that's when they say that makes not an iota of a difference because I is iota in the Greek. So it's interesting. It's like in our language throughout a long time. So that is it. A trip out on Beyonce's video. 7-Eleven. Check it out. Watch Truth Heresies. Truth Heresy. You know, if you watch this person from Visalia in Porterville, he's from where I'm from. So if you think there's not something weird going on with this place that I'm in, you're sorely mistaken. And then also the other streets that surround our little square are like Locust. I always wonder, like, does anybody wonder why we have a street named after one of the plagues of Egypt? And then the court is right next to it. I mean, like, that's pretty crazy. It leads you straight into the oval, which is the cube. I mean, it is pretty weird when you think about it, right?